So, I've been reading all the comments and stuff, checking all the feedback on all the recent videos, and I think it's safe to say that you guys really, really like the long stories. I mean, the feedback on those videos have been, incredible, and views on all of them are up, so I think it's safe to say I should stick to the long ones. Pause times 2. Anyway, I'm happy to announce that for the foreseeable future, I will be telling only long story times, so every day you will have a video that is over 20 minutes long. Most of them might even be over 30 minutes long. Now, obviously, for the rest of my channel, I can't only tell 30-minute stories because I have some stories that are a lot shorter than that, but seeing all the feedback on the recent videos, I've decided to switch to mainly the long ones for a little bit, and give you guys some long story times to either fall asleep to or listen to while you do your schoolwork or whatever you guys do when you watch my videos. I've heard so many things. I've had people tell me they listen to them on the toilet. I've heard people tell me they sleep to them. I've heard people say they do work to them. So yeah, whatever you're doing. Now this story time's a very good one, and it's a good one for a lot of reasons. My favorite reason being that this story time is like 4 stories in one. That's why I love the long ones so much, because there's just so many details, little details that kind of make it just one big, sandwich of stories, I guess. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this, and let's jump into it. So this story time all takes place in the wonderful year of 2015, just like my last one did. It was the beginning of 2015. It was January, literally the year just started. I was in the peak of winter where I lived. I live not far from Canada, so our winters suck. I live in upstate New York, so yeah, shit is cold. And yeah, I woke up pretty late in the day on this day. It was a Saturday afternoon. I didn't have school or anything, and I didn't have anything planned on this day. Well, I kind of did. My plans kind of consisted of getting up really late in the day, and then I was going to go make a video, and then after that, I was just going to play video games all day. That was my plan, which means I had no plan, basically, because that's my everyday thing. So yeah, I got up very late, took a shower, ate some breakfast with my family, went downstairs, made a video, got that done pretty quick. It was up on YouTube within 2 or 3 hours. And then after that, I was just playing some COD, just having a chill day, right? Now, around this time, I was definitely a little bit of a, what's the word I'm looking for? I was an experimenter. And when I say that, I mean, around this time was my phase of, researching psychedelics and, smoking a bunch of weed, trying to open my mind up and, see the real world. I was just in that, kind of trippy phase of my life. So yeah, while I was sitting there just playing some COD after I had gotten done with my video, I wanted to trip really bad for some reason. Now here's the issue. I did not like tripping alone, and I'm sure a lot of people can relate to that because it's scary sometimes. But there was another problem. 95% of the people I called were busy. I started off by calling my friend Stevie. That dude was busy, couldn't hang out with him. Tried my homie Justin, he was busy. And I called 3 more people, and they were all fucking busy. They either had something going on with their family that day, or they were hanging out with other people, or they were skating or something and they didn't want to come over. And everyone I was hitting up was just busy. So I kind of gave up for a little bit. I put my phone down, went back to playing some COD. And then 20 minutes later, I'm on Xbox and I have my Xbox party open, right? And I'm just playing COD, kind of just accepting the fact that I'll be alone playing video games all day because all my friends are busy. And right as I had that thought, my IRL friend joins the party, my friend Jason. A friend that I completely forgot about, by the way. I didn't call him earlier because I forgot he existed. And I know it's fucked up to say, but I just genuinely forgot that he was an option. And he joins my party and he's like, "What's up, bro? What are you up to?" And I got so excited at finally having the option to maybe hang out with somebody that I didn't even say hello or anything. I just straight up said, "What you up to today?" And he's like, "Nothing, man, just playing COD." And I was like, "You want to kick it? Maybe do some shrooms or something?" And he's like, "Damn, dude, I just woke up. What?" And I was like, yeah, I know. But bro, I'm bored. I've been hitting people up all day. Everyone's busy. I forgot that you were a thing, bro. And you'd probably be down. And he's like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm down, but not right now. It'd have to be later tonight." And I was like, "How later?" He's like, "I don't know, 9 p.m. I'm like, "Bro, 9 p.m.? That's hours from now." He's like, "Yeah, but I don't want to trip after I just woke up. I want to eat my breakfast and play some video games, get some work done, and then I can hang out." Now, Jason worked with his dad on the weekends. Every weekend he would help his dad work on stuff with construction and stuff like that. So I definitely understood that he didn't want to hang out right away. He probably had some pretty important things he needed to do first. So I was like, "All right, man, fine. We'll hang out later, 9 p.m. And he's like, "Yeah, and one other thing." I was like, "Okay." He's like, "I want to do LSD, not shrooms." And I was like, "Bro, what?" He's like, "Yeah, man, shrooms don't affect me good. Acid does." Now, I had the complete opposite experience at the time. Around that time, shrooms definitely affected me better than LSD did, so I definitely didn't want to mess with it. But I was like, "You know what, man? if you know where to get some, I'm down, because I can't get any. And he's like, all right. So yeah, later that night, around like 8, 9 p.m., I get a text message from Jason, and it just says, I got some. And I was like, cool, when are you coming over? He's like, 9:30. I was like, all right, bet, I'll see you then. So now I'm like trying to mentally prepare, right, for the night I'm about to have. Because this really wasn't in the plans. I thought maybe I'd like link up with a friend, maybe two, maybe shroom a little bit, I don't know. But no, now it's like this whole full-blown acid experience with one of my homies. And it's going to be at 9 at night, and I preferred to trip during the day because I didn't like the nighttime because I got more intense visuals, it felt like, at night, even though it's probably not even true, it just felt that way. And also, another reason I didn't want to trip at night is because my mom, my stepdad, and all my brothers were home at my house, which means we'd have to do it quietly and like sit in my room the whole night and not go anywhere. And yeah, that's why I wanted to do it during the day, because I could have gone somewhere with a friend, like a park or something, or like their house, and stayed there for the day and maybe the night. But now I'm like locked in my house, right? So yeah, later that night at about 9, Jason came over. He pulled up. His dad dropped him off. Came in my house, had his backpack on with all his stuff to spend the night. You're probably wondering, Austin, why didn't you just spend the night at Jason's house? Jason's house was definitely off the table. He like lived in a room with his brother, so we couldn't do it in his room. His little brother would be right there. And we couldn't do it in the living room because the living room was right next to his parents' bedroom, and he had no basement or anything. So yeah, his house was just off limits. My house was a little bit more accessible for this kind of thing. So Jason came over, and first thing he says to me when he walks in my room, he closes the door and he goes, yo, I got some. And I was like, yeah, I know, dude. You texted me that earlier. And he's like, nah, bro, like I got some, look. And he like pulls it out. And this dude bought more than I could ever imagine, dude. More than we needed. I was not doing that much. I was like, dude, I'm doing one small little tab. I'm not doing anything more than one. Like, I'm chilling. He's like, oh, well, I'm doing 2. And I'm like, are you sure? He's like, yeah, bro, I can handle it. And I was like, okay. And keep in mind, this dude bought like 8. I don't know why, but he did. I'm assuming he just wanted some for like the next couple weeks or something. I have no idea. But anyway, yeah, we got right to it. He took 2, I took 1, and before I knew it, we were on our way. Now, it took quite a bit for it to kick in for me usually, so I knew I had some time to kind of chill and not worry about, visuals and seeing stuff and feeling stuff, so I tried to just chill out for a little bit. After we took it, we just started playing some COD together. We were split screening on Spec Ops. If you guys know, you know. That shit was legendary back in the MW2 days. I sound like an unk right now, but anyway, yeah, it was cool. We were chilling playing Spec Ops, and I kind of knew that we had probably about 45 minutes to an hour before we felt any kind of effect. So about 20 minutes later, I got curious, and I was like, yo, where did you buy the acid from? And he's like, oh, my brother's homie. And I was like, okay, cool. Because I knew his brother. His brother was like 2 years older than he was, and his brother was a pretty cool kid, so I figured he had a reputable connection. It's kind of funny that him just being like, oh, my brother, made me be like, okay, yeah, it's trustworthy. I probably should have been a little bit more cautious about shit like that back in the day, but what are you going to do? Anyway, yeah, about 20 minutes after that, I finally started to feel this kick in. And it started off very gradually, just felt a little bit more like different. Things seemed a little bit more vivid. Things seemed a little bit more bold. And I felt like I was in a little bit more of an uplifted mood, if that makes sense. Not like overly happy. I just felt kind of like a good vibe. I hate that fucking word. I hate the word vibe, but that's what it felt like, okay? And I was excited. I was like, okay, cool. This is starting out very, very good. Now I'm going to fast forward a couple hours because nothing really happened over the next 2 hours. We were just sitting in my room playing Call of Duty. And let me say, the more and more this shit kicked in, the more and more I sucked at COD. We tried to 1v1 at one point, like split screen, and I thought I was seeing him in different places throughout the map where I wasn't seeing him, and I'm going to guess that was because of the visuals I was seeing. But yeah, as the hours went by, the visuals got more and more intense, definitely started to feel a pretty strong trip, and I was actually surprised by that because I didn't take a lot. Compared to him, with his 2 tabs, my 1, I don't know, it felt like I was definitely on some strong shit. Now, at this point, I want to get out of the house because the visuals were getting stronger and stronger, and I kept looking at things in my room that were looking different than they normally would. For example, I had this big mural painted on my closet doors of 2 trees and some leaves and my family dog at the time, and I was staring at my dog on the painting, and it was painted with like a whole bunch of different colors, right? It was very colorful, and I looked at my dog, and I shit you not, the paint in my dog's painting started to like swirl. It looked like it was swirling together. It looked like the paint was moving. And I'm like, okay, that ain't real. I need to get out of my house and stop staring at my dog before it comes alive and eats me. Now, deep down, I knew that wasn't going to happen, but I didn't like the look of it, so I just wanted to leave. There was also other things in my room that were kind of tripping me out. For example, I had a big tie-dye tapestry on my wall, and I kept looking at that, and it had this very weird kaleidoscope pattern going on. And I was just like, okay, yeah, this is wild. I need to get out of the house and like just go for a walk or something and like see some nature. Even though it was very dark out, I just knew that I'd feel better outside because staring at all the stuff on my wall moving around was making me feel a little bit anxious. So I told my homie that. I was like, Jason, I gotta go outside, dude. Like, I wanna go outside, just go for a walk or something because like I'm feeling a little bit weird. And he looks at me with this face of like disappointment and he's like, dude, outside? Really? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, dude, it's like 20 fucking degrees. You're really gonna make me go outside and freeze my ass off? And I was like, dude, just a quick walk. We don't have to stay out for that long. Let's just go up to the store. We'll grab some drinks, some snacks or something, and then we'll come back. He's like, actually, okay, that sounds pretty good. I need a drink. And I was like, all right, cool. So we put our coats on, we put on our shoes, and we set out on a journey to the convenience store like a mile up the road. Now, this was kind of a stupid idea because I wasn't supposed to be going anywhere, especially at night, without telling my mom where I was going first, but she was already sleeping. So me and my homie decided to sneak out. Yeah, real smart. But anyway, Jason was right. It was fucking cold. It was like 20 degrees. We stepped outside and immediately my ass went from tripping to freezing. That's not true. I was definitely still tripping and freezing. But being cold, for some reason, took my mind off the trip a lot. There might be some science behind that with the body being cold, not feeling effects as much, or stuff like that, but I don't know. I'm not no scientist. I'm just a moron with a YouTube channel. So anyway, we set out on our walk to this convenience store, and it was actually pretty nice. The first, like, quarter mile, I was feeling pretty good. I was looking around at the streetlights and the white snow on the ground, and I was still seeing patterns and kaleidoscope patterns and stuff like that, and visuals, but they weren't as scary as they were in my room. I think the way I had my room decorated was not ideal for an acid trip, that's for sure. So, yeah, I'm looking around, just being surrounded by nature, feeling good. My trip was definitely turning around because it was starting to veer in that direction of bad trip, but now it's veering more towards good trip, and things were good, right? Now we get up to the convenience store. I grabbed a can of Arizona. My homie grabbed some random sports drink, and we go up to the front, and then we grab some snacks, and we check out. Now, as soon as we get done checking out, we start walking out of the convenience store. And as we're walking out, I notice something. I hear a super weird, high-pitched ringing sound. I would try and mimic the sound for you, but I cannot make it with my voice. It was very high-pitched. It was very, like, uncomfortable on my ears. It did not sound good. And I honestly thought it was just my mind starting to have a bad trip again. I thought I was imagining something. I thought I was having auditory hallucinations. And then Jason looks at me and he goes, yo, what is that sound? And I was like, oh, thank fuck, you can hear it too. I thought I was crazy. He's like, nah, dude, like, what is that? And I was like, I don't know. Kind of sounds like an alarm. And right after I said that, I hear police sirens in the distance, like very, very faintly. And they start getting louder and louder and louder very quickly. Like you can tell they're coming towards us fast. And then I start to see over the road, over the hill, red and blue lights bouncing off the trees. And I look over at Jason, I'm like, yo, a bunch of cops are about to come over that hill. Like, watch. And literally, like, maybe 5 seconds after I said that, 3 police SUVs come over the hill, speeding. And they pull into the parking lot of the convenience store we're at. And they jump out. And me and Jason look at each other like, oh, we're fucked, bro. Like, we're going to jail. I really thought that these cops were there for us. And the one cop approaches me and Jason, and he's like, did you see anybody run through here? And we're like, no. And then he just runs inside the convenience store and starts talking to the clerk in there. And I look at one of the other cops standing there and I was like, what's going on? He goes, oh, there was a robbery about 2 stores down. You probably hear the alarm going off. And I was like, oh, that explains that awful sound. And he's like, yeah. And I was like, oh, well, I hope you guys catch him. And he's like, thanks. Have a good one, guys. And after that, me and my friend got the hell out of there. We started walking back towards my house, just heading back on our cold journey home. And me and Jason couldn't believe what just happened. He looked over at me after we got far enough away. And he's like, bro, I honestly thought we were about to get arrested. And I was like, dude, you're telling me. I was about to throw my hands up. And he's like, dude, holy fuck, this is crazy. And I was like, yeah, what a night. And I thought it was over. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, you know, everything that could have happened. And now I have a good story to tell. Like, this is going to be awesome. Little did I know the story was far from over. So about halfway through our walk, literally like right at the halfway point, we're turning the corner to go down one of the main streets that leads to my house. And while we're turning the corner, we see this man, like maybe 4 houses up on the sidewalk, like running full speed towards us. And he's wearing a black hoodie, black pair of jeans, some work boots, and he has a duffel bag in his hand, and he has his hand over his face. And he's running straight towards us, full speed, not stopping. So me and my friend, naturally, like this was very sketchy, so we stepped out of his way, and he ran by us and didn't stop, didn't hurt us or anything, but he looked like he would have if we didn't get out of his way, so we got out of the way. Now, as soon as he passes by us, Jason looks at me with this look of like fear, and he's like, dude, I think that's the guy that broke into a store. Like, he had the duffel bag, he was covering his face. Like, I think that's the guy the cops are looking for. And right after he says that, we can still see the guy. He's like maybe 6 houses down now, running in the other direction. We see the cops come over the hill, and one of the lights shines right at the guy running, one of the spotlights from the cop cars. And they surround this motherfucker and jump out and tackle him and arrest him. And I look over at Jason and I was like, yo, I think that answers the question. And we both start laughing. And we turn around to start leaving, right? Because we're like, all right, we gotta get the fuck out of here. We gotta go home. Like, this is bad. And all of a sudden we hear someone yell from the distance, hey, stop. And we turn around and it's one of the cops. This was a different cop. This wasn't the same one we just saw up at the convenience store. This was someone else. And he's like, come over here. And me and Jason kind of look at each other with this look of like, what the fuck? Like, what does he want? So I just reply and I'm like, why do you want us to come over there? And he's like, I'm not going to ask again. Get over here. So me and Jason walk over to him. And immediately he starts cuffing us. He's like, turn around. And we're like, oh, okay. And he starts putting handcuffs on Jason. And then after Jason, he starts moving over to me. And I ask him, I'm like, what the fuck did we do? Like, we're just walking home. We're kids, dude. And he's like, yeah, well, we'll find out. And right after he says that, I hear another voice, another officer's voice behind him. And I hear him yell, nah, man, like, let them go. They're not a part of this. They're from the convenience store. I just talked to him a little while ago. And I turn my head and I see it's one of the same police officers that we literally just spoke to up at the convenience store. And there was even another officer behind that one that was also from the convenience store. And he was nodding his head. So those two were like riding for us. They were vouching for us. And luckily, this dipshit officer in the front, the one that was cuffing us, he took their word for it, and he proceeded to start uncuffing us. Now, after he uncuffed us, one of the other officers, one of the same ones from the convenience store, walked up to me and Jason, and he was like, hey guys, sorry about that. We have very limited information about this call. We didn't know if the suspect had more people with him or if he was just alone. So, my fellow officer over here, he was just playing it safe, making sure you guys weren't involved. Sorry about that. I know you guys are just kids. You're not involved. And I was like, all good? No, all good. Like, don't worry about it. And he's like, that man over there, the one we arrested, he didn't hurt you guys, did he? Like, did you guys cross paths with him? And I was like, yeah, we did actually. We literally just crossed paths with him on that street right there. And I pointed to the street sign. But, like, he didn't hurt us or anything. He was just running right towards us. So we got out of his way, let him pass by, and then you guys arrested him. And he was like, okay, good. Did you see him throw anything? Did he, like, try and dispose of anything while he's running? And we're like, no, he didn't drop anything. He had that duffel bag with him. That was it. He's like, okay, thank you guys. Like, have a good one. And he just let us go. And after that, we just moved quickly back to my house. And when we got there, I sat down in my room with Jason, and he looks at me and he goes, did that make your trip better? And I was like, dude, honestly, I was so fucking scared in those few moments that, like, I forgot I was tripping. And he's like, dude, honestly, same. Now, obviously, I was exaggerating a bit. I definitely didn't forget I was tripping. That whole time I was talking to that cop at the store and then down the street when they arrested that guy. I definitely was still seeing some visuals and feeling a little bit, odd. But I'll tell you what, man, the amount of adrenaline that was going through me from, like, the fear of, like, what was going on, I was just focused on other things. Now, you probably think that's where the story ends, right? Oh, no, it doesn't end there. It gets so much better. So the next day, right, me and Jason wake up at, like, probably 11 a.m. We slept for maybe, like, 3 or 4 hours. We did not sleep very long at all. We were definitely very tired. But we just couldn't go back to sleep. So we both got up and we're sitting in my room just kind of like still coming down from the night before, right? Like just the events that happened, how crazy it was. Like everything was still just so fresh in our mind. And Jason looks at me and he's like, you want to get some breakfast? And I was like, yeah. So I went in the other room, told my mom that me and Jason were going on a walk to get some breakfast. And then me and Jason left my house and started walking to a bagel shop near my house. Stepped out the front door, walked to a nearby bagel shop. It was like 1.5 miles away. We got there, we sat down, we were in this booth right next to one of the TVs. And as soon as I start eating my bagel, I look up and the news is on. and it's talking about what happened the night before. It's talking about the break-in that happened. So I tell Jason, I'm like, yo, turn around, like, look up. They're talking about the break-in from last night. And he's like, oh, shit. And he turns around, and we're both watching. And the first thing the news showed was a still shot of the building that got broken into that was right next to the convenience store. And it was a jewelry store. It was a really nice, like, high-end jewelry store. So that explained that. I'm like, okay, like, this burglar broke into the building, stole some jewelry, tried to make a quick buck. Probably filled that duffel bag up with a bunch of necklaces and rings and stuff. Like, no surprise there. And then I was not prepared for what happened next. They showed the mugshot of the guy that did it, the thief. I guess he was like a repeat offender, so they had like a previous mugshot they were showing. And they show this dude's mugshot on the TV. And I notice Jason's face, like, changes and looks very, very, like, concerned. And I was like, yo, like, are you good? And he turns around and he looks at me and he's like, dude. And I was like, is your fucking brain malfunctioning? Like, why do you keep saying that? Are you a fucking parrot? Stop repeating the same thing. And he's like, no, dude, like, you don't get it. I know that guy. And I'm like, what? What do you mean you know that guy? No, you don't. He's like, no, dude, I do. That's my brother's friend. That's the one that sold me the acid. Literally the same day he robbed that jewelry store. And I was like, no fucking way. He's like, yes. And I was like, are you messing with me? Like, seriously, tell me the truth. Are you messing with me? He's like, no, dude, like, I saw him literally yesterday. Like, bro, same day. Like, this is crazy. And I was like, yeah, dude, this is insane. Like, you didn't recognize him yesterday when he ran by us or anything? He's like, nah, dude, he's wearing, like, black hoodie, black pants, covering his face. I couldn't see his face. And I was like, all right, fair enough. And he just keeps talking about how he's, like, in disbelief that this dude is someone he, like, literally just saw, right? And then he gets a phone call from his brother, the one who was friends with this guy that robbed the jewelry store. And he puts it on speaker. And the first thing his brother says is, did you see that blank got arrested? Said his name. And Jason's like, yeah, dude, we're at this bagel shop. We're watching it on the news right now. And then Jason's brother goes, dude, we saw him yesterday. I think the cops are going to want to talk to us about, like, him and, like, see if we knew anything. And Jason's like, you think they would? And he's like, yeah, probably. So after this, we had to leave the bagel shop, go back to Jason's house. We walked there from the bagel shop. It was a pretty long walk. It was like 2 or 3 miles. Got there, hung around at Jason's house all day, thinking the cops would show up to, like, question Jason's older brother or Jason about this guy. And guess what? They never showed, because Jason and his brother didn't do anything connected to this. So, like, obviously they wouldn't come questioning them. I just think it's the craziest, biggest coincidence that, like, not only did we encounter this guy that night and, like, talk to the cops, well, tripping, by the way, but also this dude also sold, like, weed and psychedelics and stuff, and sold Jason and his brother, I guess, some psychedelics the same day. Like, insane. Now, looking back, I'm so happy it went the way it did, because it could have gone so much differently. Like, what if the guy running down the street, the criminal that just robbed the store, stopped because he recognized Jason? Because, like I said, Jason saw him that day and bought that acid, and, like, it was dark out, and the guy was running, and he had his face covered, so he probably didn't see Jason either, the same way Jason didn't see his face. But, like, what if he did? What if he stopped and talked to us, and then the cops came over that hill and saw us all talking? We probably all would have been arrested. Even though me and Jason probably wouldn't have been charged because we didn't do anything, it still would have been really, really just, like, scary to deal with. And also, my mom never caught us, which was crazy, because we snuck out, and we were out for quite a bit, and she just never woke up and caught us, so that was wild. I don't know. I'm just so happy it went the way it did. But yeah, guys, moral of the story is here. Just don't do anything I talked about in this video. Flat out, that's it. Just don't. I was an idiot. And, yeah, we could have had a much more chill night if we just stayed inside and played some COD. But, yeah, one of my craziest stories, one of my craziest acid trips, and I thought you guys would enjoy it. So if you guys enjoyed this story time, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below. And subscribe if you're new. I will see you all later. Peace.
I'm staying up and you won't take my place. I made like 30 just a week ago and I'm not phased. I heard that song you dropped, you capping, now I see your fade. I made